Alrighty, so we're going to go into Schilberg outskirts, Wuff against Deathly Silent, and first of all take a look in the bottom left hand corner of the screen because it does say Stormless and Monolithic Bacon. This is a map that me and Monolithic Bacon will be working on for about maybe a month and a bit. I don't want to take too much credit for this because Monolithic Bacon of course is the map maker. He's done pretty much everything on this map. I've just kind of contributed to different points on the map that I think will improve or balance strategy for a number of factions here. So hope you guys enjoy this map. I know some of you have played it already, and just see what you think. But some features of this map: it is designed for 3 different styles of play. You have quite a closed area on the south side, some negative cover points, lots of close range engagements, the VP, the fuel. Then in the center we have the church area. This has been very calibrated, so this church can be kind of counted from pretty much all sides. It's still a good position to have, but it's not a dominant position totally, but it's a nice little focal point at the center. You're probably going to want to take to choose whether you're going to go north or south. So yeah, we're going to see lots of different things here, and on the north a little bit more of an open area. Some open ground, some nice snowy fields and things like that. Again, another one of the fuels and the VPs right at the top here. So we'll have a look at the early game goes on here. I am so keen to see like good players playing on this map because, hey, need to see if there's anything else that can be done to it. But Wuff, of course, playing as the USF. He's got a pretty standard loadout. Deathly Silent. No commanders picked early on, which we certainly like to see. Then Pioneer's going to come in and try and clear out the Riflemen. Not the best start game for Wuff there. Look at this aggression here, making use of all of the medium cover craters along the center of the map just to get up to the Rifleman. That's going to force Wuff right off at the start. This is actually a dangerous thing, and this is why the south side has been designed as it is. It's actually a really good spot for OKW to go because with the long range of the Volksgrenadiers, and being able to just go past very short gaps with the Stern Pioneers, they're going to be able to kind of deter Riflemen from the early game, which is really cool. You see the Kubel here as well, capping the north. So he's really making the best of all sides of this map as the OKW faction. You'll see as well on some of these buildings, like there aren't windows that come into this side, so these aren't particular buildings you can use to face in on the VP, but you can get in them to face the cutoff points for the base. So as OKW maybe gets into Battle Grouper and they get the MG, they may be able to lock down the south side, which is going to be really nice position for them, and then maybe fight out towards the middle. But as I say, yeah, not the best start game. What are we going to see? I thought he was going to try and drop in the building there, but as you see, no windows on this side. So he's not actually benefiting from any shots being fired back at the moment. This is an intentional design. Again, I think both players are maybe confused about this. Both players just having this very standoff static engagements. Eventually they'll figure out there's no windows and they'll get back on with the game. Here we go, we're going to see the tier building coming in for OKW straight away.
Rifle squad ready for action.
Still nothing has been realized from Deathly Silent here. I don't know what I don't know what Always check around the windows to see, check around the building to see if there's windows. Now the green cover here is interesting. Me and Monolithic Bacon had a little bit of a discussion about this. This building is long enough for you to get grenades. You can throw satchels, but satchels will not go to the center of the church, which means the satchels will always land on the outside of the church if you were to throw them. And that means you'll probably clear the building out of, you'll probably clear the units out of the building, but you won't destroy the building. So penals and things like that aren't necessarily so good against the support weapons there, but flamers still do work very well. Hopefully we're going to see Wuff go north now. I think that's a sensible idea. One of the things that I have seen played really well on this map so far is a tier 1 from USF, because they can get things like the M20 or the A half track, and they can really dominate the north. And once OKW does secure itself in the south, it's unlikely that you see them go north, you know, early on, because they want to wait until they have the mobile, you know, the mobile units to do this. Again, no easy way into that building. You will have to give up the VP if you are going to go in there. Nice little comeback from Wuff here. Doing a good job. Battle Grouper here, been placed behind the headquarters. Now, I don't know if this works for the Battle Grouper, but some of you may have seen Despa Kotu's video where he was discussing how putting the medical buildings behind your retreat point actually reduces the amount of time it takes before your units get healing. And of course, in a game where like time really does count, like every second counts, it's a very sensible thing, but I don't know if it works with the Battle Grouper, but it certainly does work with the Austin medics. Still, it's nice to see people actually doing that in their games. There we go, Rifleman. Here we go. Now they get into a building where they can actually fire back onto, and I'll be interested to see if we do get some support weapons placed into these in the early portions of the game.
Captain just took the battlefield.
Nice little chase through the church there. Riflemen, although they're in the medium cover, low health, they're going to struggle to get rid of these Stern Pioneers, even with the support of the mortar. Nice little chase there in the early game. Sorry about that. Some of the focal points of this map, by the way, the center is of course, this is pretty much meant to be like a bombed out town, so you can see a bombing run has come through the center of here, taking out both a Sherman and a Panzer IV whilst it goes. Some of the nice things as well, you see all these dead frozen bodies outside the church. I always think that's a pretty cool thing. What it's going to do is going to try and go for the cut-off to Wuff's fuel. Does manage to get the cut-off. A quick retreat. Very, very back and forth between both teams at the moment. We don't know how much they've played these maps as well, so it could all be new. There's a really, really interesting thing as well, which I hope we get to see, but it all depends on the Kubel. Now, some people who have played this map and have been relaying information to it on me have noticed this and not know whether it's intentional or not, but basically the Kubel can actually crush a hedgerow here. It's the same on both sides. It's actually possible for the Kubel to crush a very, very small gap in the hedgerow, and what it does, it allows units like the Kubel to go through, but you couldn't get something like an M20 through. It's very, very specifically sized, so vehicles like that in the early game will create different openings in the map and just change the kind of accessibility of the map. Nice 18-8 there from Wuff. Going to try to take out the Kubel. That Kubel is pretty much guaranteed to go down. Yes, it does, and it's going to block off a little path there between the house and the VP. Double fuel for Wuff at this point. Not good news for Deathly Silent. There's the Stuart. Daz, that is not a thing that happens. If you play Brits, these do not give you a field of view. That is not true. I hope that's not true. It'd be a very interesting bug if it was. So here we go. Let's see Deathly Silent go south. Now this is a really good place for him to go. I hope he does make the most of it. We don't want to see MGs getting in this building because, of course, as we've seen, there is no window on that side. Interesting. Very interesting. I'll be interested to see if that can actually fire out side to side. we'll keep our eyes on that one. Anyway, OKW, if it can get the Panzerschreier here, is very, very good. With some Rakettens, it's going to be very, very difficult for USF to actually take these points. This was designed near enough to be like a secure point for support weapon play and just OKW early game with the high DPS Sturm Pioneers. Hopefully then he can start making his move out towards the munitions. There definitely is something to be said though about a player who can take the church, because a nice support build here means you can take double munitions in the early game and get your support weapons rolling up pretty quickly. Sorry about that, the mouse got a little bit weird. Nice use of the green cover there. He's going to try and get that rifleman squad on the retreat. Doesn't quite make it. And again, hopping in this building is just not doing anything. Suppression coming in from the MG on the VP there. Rifleman have got a bit of a retreat. He's going to go for the Faust. Hasn't really got anything to finish it off though at the moment. The Raketten's coming down.
Taking effective fire.
Going to start some of those repairs out on the Stuart. Dangerous retreat there. Captain goes down. Nice pick up there from Deathly. Surprised not to see any mines being laid yet. That's something that would really upset the Stuart at this point. Looks like Deathly's trying to go for the north again. This is a mistake. This is definitely something Deathly's doing wrong here, is actually just keeping going for different parts of the map. Like, he needs to lock down one area. He's got everything he needs. He's got the MG, he's got the Raketten. He can pretty much handle everything at this point. Instead, he keeps kind of diluting his forces across the map and losing any of the territories that he's gained, and he's just not making the territories. Wuff is easily able to reconfigure his army on different areas of the map at this point. Gonna lose a building in the center. Make it, again, just a little more difficult for any ground to be taken. Mortar's in a bit of a risky position if the Volksgrenadiers get in that church. Ketten's waiting for the Stuart. The Stuart isn't stupid enough to move in there yet. Wonder if he's going to actually make a move for the church here. Going to be a race between him and the rifleman. Nah, this is not good there. I think he's focused elsewhere on the Stuart at this point. Stuart just manages to find a sight blocker. Ketten uncloaked. Not looking good for Deathly Silent at this point. I don't really think he's utilizing his units that well, which is a shame. Major tech. Still no commander pick from Wuff as well. I think we all know what it's probably going to be at this rate. If the double fuel stays in, it's probably going to be the Pershing, as he doesn't have the Calliope. Yeah, let's take another little look around. So the ambience of the map, of course, is like a dusk setting, and Mono's design here has been really good. I love how he's even got these little lights working. I think that's really cool. USF mortar, really? It'd be great to see another Kubel here. Don't know if we're going to see that. MG hasn't got line of sight on the rifleman here, and he hasn't changed the direction. In fact, now the MG is going to be gunning down the Stuart, which is a completely ineffective use of that unit. Rocket's coming up with the Volks Grenadiers. They're going to try and get shots off of the Stuart. The Stuart's causing so many problems. And Silent just can't find any way to take it down. Then he keeps putting the Rocket in uncloaked. MG still hasn't turned round to face that unit. And he gets out of the wrong side of the building, pretty much making sure that MG is going to get decrewed.
We lost a gun crew. Supply half track is ready for order.
Ridiculous decision. Once that MG, of course, is crewed there by Wuff, he's going to be able to put it in the central building, and that's going to make things difficult for Silent to approach that side of the map now. I still don't know why Silent isn't going for either of the resource points. He's definitely going to play against him as the fuel just keeps stacking up. Do you think this is locked? It looks by the fact that Wuff can't do it either. I mean, Wuff is... Oh no, there we go. It's not locked. Yeah, something is going wrong there. They just ain't doing it.
Squad numbers back at full.
Our supply lines have been
Okay, look, tier 4 buildings coming down south now. Maybe, just maybe, there's still a slither of hope that this can work. If he gets the Rocket down there as well, this is a good little push here. He's picking the timing really well. Hopefully we get to see like a mine or something placed around here, so that when the Stuart comes in, it encounters problems. But getting a nice tier 4 there could be really nice. It would allow him to just move his forces up here constantly and aggressively. Wuff's going to pick quite a long angle to come in and attack here. He's going right the long way around the map in order to get this. Another Raketten's just hit the field to replace the one that got decapped. Should be able to safely cap the fuel though with help from the sight lines there. There's the Sherman. Again, units aren't going to be firing out here because there's no windows on this building, so this is just a waste of models. He's going to be taking damage from this side of the house. Rifles aren't going to be able to do anything about it. Is the tier 4 going to go up as well, so he can start solidifying his position? Yeah, that was just 4 models just thrown away into the void. One shot off on the Stuart, that's nice, but the Rakettans aren't going to stand up to the rifles. The last shot could do it. Nice takedown. Good play there. Riflemen are in negative cover, so the Stern Pioneers need to open up on that squad. In fact, he's selected the wrong squad to fire at. He's actually firing on this squad. Isn't doing him any favours whatsoever. Tier 4's going down now. Might just protect a little bit of the VP and the fuel. Dangerous, dangerous stuff indeed. He needed to get out there with the Stern Pioneers and just close off the finishing shots. Now he's going to lose another Raketen. If the tier 4 gets spotted as well, that's pretty much going to be GG at this point. Loving this camo. This camouflage. It's quite nicely on the map actually. Well, it's pretty much going to be a game to Wuff here, but there you go, your first impressions of Schilberg outskirts. Real shame we didn't get to see a lot of the engagements that we have planned for and tested. There really are a lot of cool things you can do on this map. Even with like the way that these houses are positioned, you can't really get proper sight on either direction. Like, you're always flankable. There's a lot of scope as well, really, for OKW to set up here. If you can get the options of a tier 4, you can also get an MG in this building, which helps to cover VP or fuel. Again, because of the angle of the building, you can't cover both. Also with the ISG, like, it's a really nice way to close the southern side of this map and then progress your way up through the north. And when you do get later in the game, you start getting more mobile units from the OKW, and then you start playing on these open engagements that start to favour OKW a little bit more. It's a really nice map for them. Hopefully we'll get to see some of that later on, though. I really hope we do get to see some real high-level play later on in the tournament. Monolithic, if you do want to hop on next game, I'd be more than happy to have you on. There goes the Faust. Another big retreat there. Raketten's trying to come in, but again gets sighted. The Sherman's in a bit of trouble here as well. The Cheval doesn't want to be going in against this Panzerschwerer because it can penetrate the occasional shots. As you're just seeing there, penetrating a couple of shots, Sherman can go down, especially at that health. See these Stern Pioneers open up. Not a good building for him to get into, although the Rifleman could get in this building and do some damage here.
Jagdtuggers have arrived on the front.
Now we have the Pershing. It's pretty much a GG right here.
Squad back to full strength. Infantry attacking in force.
Look at this, great use of the Raketten as well, stealth capping all of these. Stealth capping to avoid the Panzerschwerer. Now the Pershing's going to come in. There's pretty much nothing that this tier 4 is going to be able to do. Hasn't got the fuel to build anything from it.
Lost a squad of infantry.
Schwerer did actually penetrate the Pershing a little bit then. Not going to do anything. Who are we kidding, right? What a one-man squad of Volkswagen is. Yep. Predictable.
Infantry group lost.
Just hasn't really got anything to combat any of these units with. And there we go. Unfortunate. At the start of that game, I thought that was going to be like a pretty interesting game. Of course, just no territory for the OKW. USF very quickly start stacking up, becoming very powerful.